A few years back, Oksana and Herman promised to spend their lives together. Herman, a determined and ambitious entrepreneur, was making great strides in his business. With his unwavering support, Oksana finally had the chance to dive fully into her love for fashion. Thanks to a sewing machine and a dedicated workspace, gifts from Herman, she immersed herself in creating garments. What began as personal projects gradually attracted interest from friends and acquaintances, who started placing custom orders and encouraging her journey. Herman also backed her by funding trips to workshops and training sessions, allowing her to sharpen her skills. In the beginning, his own business ventures were far from easy. However, things took a positive turn when Vladimir, a former college friend, reappeared in his life. Vladimir saw promise in Herman's vision and soon became a trusted partner. Their collaboration thrived, and before long, Herman came to rely heavily on him. Life felt full, his business was prospering, his marriage was strong, and they had built a cozy home together. One day, wanting to do something special for Oksana's return home, Herman began planning a surprise. Aware of her fondness for unique, handcrafted items, he remembered a small jewelry boutique he'd seen. Curious about whether they offered custom designs, he stopped in after work and was pleased to learn that they did. He worked closely with a jeweler to design a white gold ring accented with delicate gemstones. The ring's flowing wave pattern was inspired by the moment they met on a beach years ago. Once completed, he gave it to Oksana, who was deeply moved and wore it proudly beside her wedding ring. Several months later, after a long and tiring day, Herman came home eager to relax. While Oksana served dinner, he noticed something was off. "Zana, where's your ring?" he asked, confused. "I took it to the workshop," she replied apologetically. "I scratched it while sewing and sent it to be repaired." Herman frowned. "You should have told me. I could have taken it back to the jeweler who made it." Oksana smiled and tried to ease the tension. "Don't worry. It's just a little scratch. I've got it covered." The next morning, rushing to catch the bus, his car still awaiting repairs, Herman couldn't shake a lingering thought. He wondered how Oksana could have damaged the ring with her sewing machine. Then again, knowing her tendency for the occasional accident, it wasn't all that surprising. Later that day, as he hurried toward a critical contract meeting, Herman struggled to find a taxi. Just as frustration was setting in, he noticed Vladimir's car parked nearby. It was odd, especially since Vladimir had called in sick that morning. Driven by a mix of curiosity and concern, Herman approached, just as Vladimir stepped out of a store, holding a small bag in his hand. "What are you doing here?" Herman asked, eyeing Vladimir with a growing sense of suspicion. "I thought you were Bertrand." Vladimir paused for the briefest moment, then quickly regained his composure. "I'm feeling better. Just came to pick up a few things from the store," he said, trying to sound nonchalant. "Right," Herman replied. "Well, since you're here, can you give me a lift to the business center? I'm running late." As they drove, Vladimir steered the conversation toward a familiar subject, their business. He spoke with renewed passion about expanding operations and, finally, making their partnership official. They had talked about it many times before, but bureaucratic red tape had always held them back. Yet something about Vladimir's tone felt off, and Herman couldn't shake the discomfort creeping over him. Reaching into the back seat for a bottle of water, Herman noticed a gleam on the floor mat. A ring, custom-made, the exact one his wife used to wear. A chill ran through him. His thoughts raced. Vladimir's mysterious sick leave, his recent absences from work, and now this, Oksana's ring in Vladimir's car. It couldn't be coincidence. In a flash, everything made sense. Vladimir hadn't just been maneuvering for a stronger position in their company. He had been pursuing Herman's wife behind his back. The sting of betrayal mixed with rising anger. The business, legally in Herman's name alone, gave him the upper hand. Without a second thought, he cut Vladimir off, revoking his access to company files and locking him out of the office. That evening, Herman confronted Oksana. He handed her the ring, watching as her face paled. There was no denying it now. With calm but firm resolve, he told her to leave. Her pleas for forgiveness fell on deaf ears. He packed her remaining belongings and had them delivered to her by courier, his final act of closure. Oksana, desperate for comfort, turned to Vladimir, only to find their relationship crumbling under pressure. Vladimir, consumed by jealousy and greed, failed to rebuild his professional standing. Finances dwindled, and Oksana was forced to carry the weight, working to support them both. It didn't take long for the burden to become too much. Eventually, she walked away, sought shelter with a friend, and later filed for divorce. She reached out to Herman once more, hoping for reconciliation, but he remained resolute. That part of his life was over. Refusing to dwell on the past, he poured himself into his work, determined to move forward. With unwavering focus, he left the pain behind and set his sights on a future built on his own strength.